You want to play a game?
Yes.
I would love to. I'm a little busy playing Call of Duty right now. We'll play later. Anthony, I said we'll play later, okay? Okay. 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah. You like Death Smack?
Death Smack? Oh my god! Ow! Oh, Anthony, you're abusive. Oh, this is abuse. I can sue you. Natty eye. Shoot. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. As of lately, I've had mixed feelings on the Call of Duty series. While people are particularly bothered with the fact that the series is an annualized franchise, besides a couple missteps, every year we usually get a pretty solid, enjoyable, and sometimes surprising shooter. The COD series is a much more polished annualized franchise than the likes of other annualized franchises like the Assassin's Creed series. However, I'm not liking the direction which Call of Duty's heading. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which has been made by Treyarch, is actually the most futuristic Call of Duty game. Now, I know not many people have the same concern as I do. Most people are just wondering if the multiplayer still enjoy fun, and if the proper return to the zombies mode is challenging, captivating, and wacky. In short, most of Black Ops 3 is actually much better than most of us have expected. The campaign, however, well, that's a different story. Black Ops 3 is, surprisingly, the third installment of the Black Ops series, but literally has nothing to do with anything that has ever happened. It is now 2065, the world is... Actually, I don't even know what's going on in the world. In fact, the game doesn't tell you much about what's going on at all. I got to learn more about the setup and the condition of the world through the trailers than I did through the actual game. But basically, every soldier has something called DNI, which is a special chip in their brain that makes them do really cool stuff. Now, there's some secret CIA black op going on, and it's up to you and your team to figure out what's going on and stop the world from blowing up or something. The reason I don't have a clear understanding as to what's going on is because the game never gives you any reasons or time to really care about what's going on. And nothing interesting happens either. Plot twists are predictable, characters are uncharacterized, and even the explosive set pieces are boring. And there are only 2 mentions of any past event in the Black Ops universe, and both felt forced and were only there to get fans crazy with nostalgia. The only enjoyable thing about anything story-wise was how at certain moments, Black Ops 3 had a sort of sci-fi vibe to it that I really enjoyed. And while the game does look pretty good in certain sections, the game only looks good when you're actually playing. The poorly made cutscenes as well as the many moments the game took control from you run really slowly, which is odd considering the gameplay runs at beautiful 60 frames per second. Black Ops 3's campaign can actually be played with up to 4 people at once. Before a level starts, you chill out at a safe house where you can customize your own loadout, choose what types of powers you want to have in your DNI, and you can also test out your loadout in a virtual training simulator with all your friends. When you guys are ready to start the level, you head out and your mission starts. Now, I have to give props to whoever was in charge of the mission's level design, as it's small enough for one person to play by themselves, yet it's also big enough to have 4 people running around causing chaos. There are many different ways to move around the map and kill bad guys, which makes navigating the area and finding secret hallways a joy fun. Unfortunately, actually playing the game is a very repetitive endeavor. Besides fighting huge robot tank things that can be considered boss battles by Call of Duty standards, you literally run around and shoot guys. That's it! And I know that's what COD has always been about, but nothing else interesting happens. Every level is literally the same mission except on a different map. Besides a few moments where you pretend to pilot a plane or glide across zip lines, nothing interesting breaks up the action. In the end, Black Ops 3 has without a doubt the worst campaign in the entire series, which is a shame because the first 2 Black Ops games had some of the best stories in the series. Fortunately, when you do beat the game, you unlock Nightmare, which is basically a new story taking place during the same time the campaign does on the same levels with a different, much more intriguing story. The big difference? You fight zombies! With a much more intriguing story as well as the actual act of killing zombies, it's a lot more fun and enjoyable than the regular campaign, and it's even more fun playing with friends. Now that we moved on from the campaign, we can finally talk about something almost everyone cares about, the multiplayer. And contrary to the campaign, the multiplayer is actually some of the best the whole series has seen. Not only do the characters and the maps themselves look much better than the actual campaign, it has more of a sense of history. It's hard to explain, but the places you fight at and the characters you fight as are more interesting than anything in the campaign. But anyways, multiplayer shows off the new changes to the COD formula. Instead of double jumping like you would in Advanced Warfare, you now have a little meter that kind of works like stamina. You use this little meter to boost and stay in the air, slide across the ground, or other physically exhausting moves. You can even run across walls Titanfall style, and it's a lot of fun. While I do miss moves like side strafing from Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3's more fluid movement system is a nice change of pace from a series that has been criticized for being more of the same. The core COD gameplay is still a lot of fun. While most encounters that take place around corners may still last you 1/3 of a second, if you take it a tad slower, you can actually become one of the best players on your team. The combat and rules of engagement won't win you over if you're not a fan of COD's gameplay, but anyone who slightly likes playing Call of Duty is going to have a blast with this game. Map design is also some of the best the series has seen in a long time. There are many choke points, maps are much more vertical, there are many avenues for travel on all the maps, all of which are perfectly designed to have you run around and go where you want the way you want to go. The use of water is actually very well implemented as well, and it doesn't feel like a gimmick. Unfortunately, as fantastic as the maps are, there are only 12 maps available on disc, which isn't a whole lot compared to other entries, but it's a lot more than compared to what most multiplayer games get nowadays. One of the biggest changes in the multiplayer are the specialists, which are specific characters you can play as that have different abilities you can use at certain times. Most of these abilities vary widely, and it really does switch up your playstyle. You can do things like ignite these huge sticks to the ground that kill all enemies in front of you, use a gun that kind of looks like the Wonderwaff, in which electricity can bounce from enemy to enemy, killing them all. You can also get the ability to glitch, which instantly transports you to a location you were at just a few seconds ago, which can become very useful in most scenarios. While not many things have changed in the multiplayer, it's as polished as ever and it's just as fun, if not more fun, than in past Call of Duty games. And then there's the other big game mode that I really miss, zombies. While zombies have been included as DLC for Advanced Warfare, this is Treyarch's return to the zombie formula, which means we get to go back to the complicated and charming zombies universe. Like other Black Ops games including World at War, you only get one map on disc with more to come in the future. The map we get to play for now is Shadows of Evil, which takes place in a fictional city in the 40s called Morgue City. The 4 new characters you play as are played by Heather Graham, Neil McDonough, Ron Perlman, and Jeff Goldblum, with a very mysterious character being played by Robert Picardo. Morgue City is absolutely gorgeous, perfectly evoking the 40s vibe, which is heightened by the zombie soundtrack and level up music now being swinging jazz music instead of metal. While I love the metal in old zombies modes, the jazz soundtrack is super awesome, and it also changes up the tone in a more comedic, self-aware kind of way. Morgue City is gorgeous and is actually pretty similar to Rocksteady's version of Gotham City, with the tall buildings, huge beautiful light-up signs, as well as the game's verticality. The map design, both aesthetically and mechanically, is genius, and is just as much of a character as the actual characters are. Fundamentally, the game is the same. You kill zombies to earn points, which can be used to open doors, get new guns, and a bunch of other standard stuff. New useful additions that can help you out with some bubblegum machine that gives you one-time power-ups, there are new perk machines and many new traps, as well as a train you can ride on that isn't nearly as terrible as the bus on transit. Every round that goes by, more zombies come and the difficulty gets increasingly harder. The game is so hard, in fact, my highest round has only been up to round 15, which isn't super high compared to older zombie maps. And instead of fighting dogs every 6 or so rounds, you fight these flying bug things. And there are even these huge monster things that when I first saw I was like, oh, no, I ain't touching that. But if you want to survive longer than all your friends, then you have to figure out the game's secrets, otherwise known as the game's big Easter egg. In order to unlock certain sections of items, you have to play as this demon thing with tentacles similar to the game Darkness. While it is fun to kill enemies in this form, your electricity and your melee attacks unlock exclusive areas for you and your friends, which is a necessity when it comes to figuring out the game's secrets. While it is freaking complicated trying to understand how everything works, not only are the secrets worth discovering, as the satisfaction is huge, but the story fits well within Treyarch's Zombies lore. Plus, when I accidentally discovered a sequel to Dead Ops Arcade, I lost my shit. Such good memories. Black Ops 3 is a great entry in the long-running and never-ending Call of Duty series. It adds just enough features and mechanics to keep the series as fun as ever without getting old. Although the campaign is absolutely terrible, the multiplayer will keep you occupied for the remainder of the year. And the zombies mode is absolutely riveting, and it may be worth buying the season's pass just to see the new zombie maps we'll get in the future. If you're even a slight fan of Call of Duty, as a whole package, Black Ops 3 is definitely worth the purchase, as long as you don't play this game on a PS3 or Xbox 360, because the last gen versions of this game are horrendous. The COD series has no signs of slowing down, and in 1 year's time, it's up to Infinity Ward to keep the series going. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 receives an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and stay fresh.